The gritty and young Celtics team has just lost in the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 7 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Celtics were without two All-Stars in Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, along with role players Daniel Tice and Shane Larkin for the playoffs. They should be back in the conference finals next year, if not in the finals, but they still do have a lot to decide upon this coming offseason. They have five impending free agents this summer: Marcus Smart, Aaron Baines, Greg Monroe, Shane Larkin, and Jonathan Gibson. There are also trade rumors surrounding Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, and Terry Rozier. Marcus Smart is probably the biggest name for the Celtics this offseason, as he is the best player that will be a free agent this year. From what I can find, the Boston Celtics want Marcus Smart, and the feeling is mutual. Smart has said that he wants to be in Boston, and he has also said that the Celtics are already planning for him to be back next year. Now, Smart has also said that he thinks he's worth more than 12 to 14 million. Now, I don't think he'll get that much in the offseason, but Danny Ainge, the GM of the Celtics, has said that the ownership group is prepared to pay for a championship. I think that the Celtics should offer him a long-term deal at about 9 to 12 million per year. If another team with lots of money offers Smart a deal that he accepts, I would match the offer as long as it's less than $15 million per year. However, I don't see any team offering Smart that much money. The only teams that could have more than $15 million this offseason without making moves to clear cap are the Lakers, Bulls, Sixers, Hawks, Kings, Mavericks, Rockets, Nets, and Magic. While that may seem like a lot of teams, none of them are realistically suitable partners for Smart. The Lakers, Sixers, and Rockets are very obviously not spending $15 million on Marcus Smart this offseason, as they all have bigger goals. The Bulls, Mavericks, Kings, and Nets all have young point guards that will be developed for a while there, them being Chris Dunn, Dennis Smith, De'Aaron Fox, and D'Angelo Russell. The Magic are the only team that could sign Smart, but I would expect them to re-sign Aaron Gordon before they go after Marcus Smart, and if they re-sign Gordon, they won't have any cap space left. The next best free agent is Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines initially declined a $6 million player option last offseason to sign a $4.3 million deal with a better team in the Boston Celtics. He seems pretty happy in Boston, and I would see no reason that he doesn't resign with the Celtics. I would assume he gets offers from other teams for about $5 to $8 million per year, but I expect him to stay with the Celtics at about $5 million per year. If he does leave, however, it isn't the biggest blow, as Daniel Tice actually had a better offensive, defensive, and total rebounding percentage than Aaron Baines this season. Baines is, of course, the better player and better defensively for sure, but Daniel Tice was the former Defensive Player of the Year in the German BBL League. Tice has also only spent 1 year in the NBA so far, so he certainly has room for improvement, while Baines, on the other hand, has already completed 6 years and is likely not going to improve that much. Greg Monroe is the next best free agent for the Celtics, but he really isn't that good. He was signed mid-season for only 1 year using the designated player exception, so the Celtics likely don't have long-term plans for him. He only played in 11 games and 10 minutes per game during the playoffs. I really wouldn't expect the Celtics to re-sign him unless it's under a few $1 million per year, although I would expect another team to offer him a deal worth about $6 million. Brooklyn, Cleveland, Memphis, New Orleans, Oklahoma City, or Phoenix could use Greg Monroe as either a starting or backup center, and Brooklyn and Phoenix will easily have the cap space to sign him to a more lucrative deal than the Celtics. Shane Larkin is the next best free agent for the Boston Celtics. He's a solid bench player and spark plug, but he isn't going to command a big payday on the open market. Shane Larkin left a lot of money on the table in Europe to sign with the Boston Celtics, and he has expressed that he wants to stay in Boston next year. I would expect him to sign for the veteran minimum with the Boston Celtics, although he may get a larger deal from a team that desperately needs guard play off the bench. I would say it would take a multi-year deal and at least $4 or $5 million a year to lure him away from the Celtics. Now, Jonathan Gibson is by far the worst free agent for the Celtics. He was really only signed because Kyrie Irving went down with a season-ending knee injury, and I don't expect him to re-sign with the Celtics, but he could for the minimum. I don't think any other team will try to sign him, and he'll likely spend his year in the G League or overseas. Now, there are trade rumors surrounding a few of the Celtics players, one being Kyrie Irving. Now, this would be an awful move for the Celtics for so many reasons. For starters, Kyrie was a fringe MVP candidate before he started getting injured, and one of the main reasons the Celtics lost in the playoffs was because they were so inexperienced and couldn't handle the atmosphere on the road. Kyrie Irving, however, is more than capable of leading a team to road wins in the playoffs. They also don't have a good enough point guard behind him, with Terry Rozier being pretty inconsistent and Marcus Smart just not being a good shooter. This would also make no sense, as Kyrie was the biggest reason the Celtics were the 2 seed. Now, I know I didn't talk much about the Kyrie Irving trade rumors, but that's because they're just so ridiculous, and it just makes absolutely no sense. There are also trade rumors surrounding Gordon Hayward. Similarly to Kyrie, I think that this trade would be terrible. I understand that the Celtics have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Marcus Morris, but people still forget what Gordon Hayward was before the injury. He made the All Star team in a very competitive Western Conference and was able to lead the Jazz to a first round victory over the Los Angeles Clippers when they still had Chris Paul. While it would be very interesting to have Tatum and Brown play more minutes, it is just plain dumb to trade Gordon Hayward. We don't even know how good he could be on the Celtics. What if he comes out and averages 25 points under Brad Stevens? That could very well happen, but if the Celtics trade him, we may never know if he would. Lastly, there are trade rumors surrounding Terry Rozier. Now, I'm indifferent with this trade. On one side, Terry Rozier doesn't really bring anything to the Celtics that they don't already have, as his playstyle is very similar to Kyrie, while Marcus Smart, the other guard off the bench, is a completely different player who the Celtics need. Also, Rozier's value is probably never going to be higher than what it is right now. However, the Celtics don't have any other long-term option, as Kyrie Irving is only signed for next year and Marcus Smart is a free agent this summer. Keeping Rozier would save them from potentially being in a desperate situation next offseason if Kyrie and Smart both aren't on the team anymore. Now, recently there have been rumors about the Celtics moving up in the draft to select Mohamed Bamba. If this is true, a package would probably have to include Terry Rozier along with maybe the Grizzlies or Clippers 2019 first round pick and maybe the Celtics 2018 first round pick. Now, this would actually be a pretty good trade in my opinion, as the Celtics do need a mobile rim protector who can rebound well, as rebounding is something that they have lacked for the last few years. So those are my thoughts on what the Celtics should do in this offseason. Leave a like if you've enjoyed and comment down below what you think they should do this offseason.